What am I to do?
Welcome to Razor Branding Podcast with Jackie Russo. To learn more about how to improve your brand, visit brandrusso.com.
Hi, welcome to Razor Branding Podcast. So today we are doing an all-day podcast marathon in honor of National Podcast Day, and we are doing an opportunity to target all of these different nonprofits in the Lafayette and Acadiana community to help tell their stories because they've all been impacted by COVID. They've had fundraisers stopped, they've had additional expenses, and so we thought this would be a great time to share their cause, share their story, and help them raise some funds. So I hope you tune in, watch, learn something, and give. That's the ultimate goal here, give. So for this hour, we are joined by Foster the Love and Heather Duyon. Heather, welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Good morning. So we were just talking backstage about how much Michael loves your name because it really does tell people kind of who you are and what you're about, but in a really smart way. So Foster the Love is all about fostering kids, right?
Yeah, we provide support and resources for the local foster community. So that it started out as a focus on foster parents. My husband and I, we have 5 children, and we adopted our 2 youngest children through foster care. It'll be 3 years in December since we finalized their adoptions. And so we kind of got to a point where we were like, you know what, 5 kids is good. We're good. We don't need to necessarily continue in our foster journey, but we feel like we still have a difference to make in this community. And so that's how Foster the Love was birthed, just out of a desire to continue serving the foster community, but without, directly fostering children any longer.
So you were thinking 5, like you've already had to leave the man-to-man defense and go zone defense. And you were like, at this point, I want a full basketball team. So that was your goal. Is that my understanding?
We may add some more down the road, but for now, 5 is good.
Okay. All right. Because, the next team after basketball is football. That's 11.
Right.
So are you prepared to make the jump from 5 to 11?
We'll see. I don't know. I'm getting older. So
that's a cargo van at that point.
I know. We decided to stop with our expedition extended length.
Exactly. Once you can't put all the people in the car anymore, it's either don't keep adding people or get a new car. It's a big choice.
Cars, yeah.
So is there a big foster community in Acadiana?
There is. So in our Lafayette region, there are about 500. I'm sorry, we're actually kind of down in our numbers right now. So about 400 children that are in foster care, about 260 families, foster families. And then statewide, we have about 4,000 kids that are in foster care. So there is. It's definitely an underappreciated, overworked community. The challenges of fostering children who have come from traumatic experiences are great. It can be quite exhausting at times, because when you choose to take in a child or multiple children at one time, you don't know what you're getting. You don't know. Now, not every case is an extreme case, but the majority of our kids are. So in the state of Louisiana, 85% of children who come into foster care do so because of neglect. And so we're talking about, lack of food, lack of clothing, inefficient shelter. And so, and that is usually linked with abuse of some sort. And so the role of a foster parent to have to step in and be a caregiver, you're giving care, but you're also trying to understand their trauma, meet them where they're at, advocate for their needs, try to get them the services and support that they need, make family visits and court dates, and all while trying to maintain your regular life schedule. And it's very demanding, and it can be very exhausting. And annually, about half of we have more foster homes closing than we have opening each year. And most of the time, one reason why foster homes are closing are because of lack of support. And so having had that firsthand experience, we had 3 young children. Our kids were 9, 7, and 12 when we started fostering. And in one night, our whole life was turned upside down because we got these 2 kiddos that, we just weren't as prepared as we weren't prepared for,
And how old were they? The
they
foster
were
kids?
5 and 20 days old when we got them. So yeah, suddenly, like, we weren't expecting to even get a call that quickly. It was literally the day we got certified. We got a call that afternoon. And so suddenly I have these 2 brand new kids, and one of them's a newborn who was born drug exposed. And so we were dealing with some of that. And we were just, we were thankful for our family that stepped in, because with my youngest being 7, we had no baby equipment, and so in a weekend we got a bed, we got clothes, we got, baby equipment. We got all the things we needed because we had some great friends and family that stepped in to just say, hey, we're here to support you in what you're doing. But not everybody has that support system. And so that's actually one of our programs that we have is our community closet. And so through our closet, we take donations of new and gently used clothes, shoes, baby equipment, furniture, and we just make it available to our families as they need it. They get to come. We have certain hours where we're open, and then we schedule by appointment otherwise, and it's just there. We don't charge for it. And because that was a need that we had. And so we realized it's a need that every foster family has, especially with, turnover. If you have kids who are there for 6 months and then go home, and then you get another set of kids that are different genders, different sizes, you can't keep everything on hand. And so that's one of the ways that our community closet helps in meeting that need.
Is the foster process usually more like the one you encountered where you foster to adopt, or is it usually more like what you just talked about with the turnover, where you get a kid or set of kids and then they go back into their home and then you get a different set?
It's all of the above. So some kids come into care and they're with you for a season, and then their parents work their case plan, and the kids get reunited. And then other cases are kids come into care and they end up, needing adoption. So we have about 65% of children are reunited with their biological families. But then there's the 35% remaining that are in need of adoptive homes.
Wow. That's a lot of kids and a lot
Yeah.
of homes. Do
Yeah.
we have enough foster families? And I know you're providing the support, but
Sure.
you're in the system. So what
Yeah.
are you seeing from that level?
Oh no, there's never enough. If you're talking about 400 kids, just in Lafayette region, we have over 400 kids, but only around 260 families. It means that your families are being overworked. They're being overloaded. They're having to take in more kids and meet capacity rather than having that workload spread out over several families. So yeah, there's definitely not enough foster families.
Right. And it'd be remiss if I didn't mention right now, before we go any further, that there is a link where people can give and donate to support what y'all are doing as you support foster families. And so I want people to notice that you've got it in the comments, and Michael put it on the screen as well. And so anybody who wants to dig deep and help support your cause, please do so, because that's what today is about. So talk to us about, as there aren't enough families, and you mentioned about getting certified. What's that process to become trained and certified?
Well, so it looks a little different right now with COVID. Typically, you would go to a foster parent orientation meeting, and that's where they kind of get you hooked. That's where we got hooked. And then after that, you would do it's about 7 weeks of training, 21 hours of training. You have to do background checks and provide financial records and home studies and physicals and references. And so it's a lot of work that goes into it. But then once you complete that process, then you are now a certified foster home. Because of COVID, that's kind of being changed up a little bit to accommodate the social distancing and everything. And so you can now call in to the regional office, and I should have had that number on hand, but you can call into the DCFS regional office. You can find all the information on the Louisiana DCFS website and do your orientation online. And then they'll walk you through. They've created a Zoom process now for going through the certification classes. So that's one way. You can also, there's a couple of private organizations that you can do your certification through. The Louisiana Baptist Children's Home and the Louisiana Methodist Children's Home both have resources and ways to walk you through that certification process. The Louisiana Methodist Children's Home actually, they have a process for licensing homes to help children who maybe have more special needs or harder behavioral issues, so that they have the little more training going into it, so that they're better prepared to deal with some of those behavioral issues.
Wow. So Melissa Bowen's watching and says, I have several friends who do foster parenting. Thank you for the work and support that you provide.
Yeah, I know. Melissa and I've met. We know because she's really close with some of our CASA friends.
That is awesome. Well, I met Melissa first in college, and she's a counselor and a licensed professional therapist now, and a coach. And so I know that she works with a lot of families and helps support their support, which I think is pretty awesome. And then Foster the Love Louisiana is watching and says, "Go Heather!" # Foster the Love LA. So talk to us about the support families need. So they come through the training, they get certified, all of a sudden they get a kid or kids of various ages and in various needs. How does Foster the Love step in and help support the support they're giving?
Sure. So, I mean, we do it in a variety of ways, a lot through our closet. We also have our first night bag program where we assemble we call them our first night bags for the first night in care. So like when my two kiddos came to me, literally came with the clothes on their back. My 20-day-old, we didn't even have enough formula to get through the night, or diapers. And so our first night bags, we put those directly into the DCFS offices. They're filled with clothing and hygiene items, so to help cover that first night in care. And then our closet, that's a big support, helping families that way. Like Saturday, I got a text from a foster mom. She has 2 babies. She got a 2-week-old 2 weeks ago, and then straight from the hospital. And then she was going home with a 6-week-old who'd been in the NICU for 6 weeks. And so she's like, Heather, we'll provide outlet monitors when we have those available. And so she's like, Heather, I have no preemie clothes. So whatever. So I ran to our closet, got preemie clothes. We only had a few items, got the outlet monitors and a $50 gift card to Target, and I brought that to her and I was like, here, we didn't have very many preemie clothes, but here's a gift card so you can go buy what you need. We've partnered with a nonprofit out of New Orleans called Crossroads NOLA to bring TBRI training to Lafayette. TBRI stands for Trust-Based Relational Intervention. And so it's a holistic model and intervention for training foster parents, DCFS workers on understanding how trauma affects the brain and how that affects behavior, development, and helping to equip our foster parents to understand that the challenging behaviors they're seeing from their kids are a result of the trauma that they experienced. And so how to approach it. You can't use traditional discipline on kids who've experienced trauma. It's just not going to work. And so I actually got certified as a practitioner so that I, help in supporting our foster families with that understanding. And we'd really love to see that grow. We'd love to see more being done to help support them, putting more resources in their hands on how to understand the trauma that their kids have gone through and how they can help support their kids in finding healing from that trauma. Next year is going to be exciting. So a lot of what we had planned for this year, obviously COVID canceled. But we have a lot in the works and planning. There's no COVID interruptions, hoping there's no COVID interruptions next year, but definitely a lot more support and appreciation activities, just helping our foster parents understand how much we appreciate the work they're doing, and our foster families, especially if you step into foster care as a family, it takes a toll on the family. And so we want to honor those biological children who have basically given up a part of their parents in order to serve these children who need a safe and loving home. So we're definitely, got some stuff in the works. We're doing a lot to partner with DCFS, which stands for the Department of Children and Family Services, if someone doesn't know what that stands for. And churches and other nonprofits in our area to really do more to show appreciation to our foster families. We want to keep them. If they're good, we want to keep them. And so we want to make sure that we're supporting them in their journey so that they don't burn out and they can continue doing the good work that they are doing.
Right, absolutely. And so for anybody who's listening and watching and wants to give, there are links in the comments and on the screen to tell you exactly how you can support Heather and Foster the Love and the good work that they're doing. So, I've had a chance to learn more about a local family, Claire Babineau Fontenot, who's from Opelousas and is the head of Feeding America worldwide.
Okay.
She is one of 103 siblings. 107, I apologize. 107 siblings, 3 are biological.
Wow.
And so we do have some families who have really, I think, bought into the program, to say the least. And so what has that experience been like for your biological kids? How much do they understand, and how did you explain it to them, and how did they adapt and adjust?
So what's beautiful about my kiddos is, adoption has actually always been part of our conversation. My husband and I, before we even started having biological kids, excuse me, we discussed adopting one day. The funny thing is, I said it would never be through foster care. I'm like, nope, not doing it that way. But when it came time to it, when it came time for it 5 years ago, and once we went to that foster parent orientation, we knew we had no choice. This is what we had to do. So it's definitely been harder on them at times than I think we expected it to be. It is, I know I've talked a lot about trauma already, but you don't really know how much that, you don't know what you're bringing into your home necessarily, and how much time it requires to work through that with a child. And so, some days they're so glad we did it, and other days they wish we would have never, and that's the reality of it. But
biological siblings feel that way about each other too sometimes. I think that's very regular, normal family dynamic.
My oldest is like, you should have just stopped with me, Mom.
Perfection. Once you achieve perfection, why keep going?
So, but I think genuinely their heart is still for it, and they love volunteering with Foster the Love. They love the work that we do. They always ask for opportunities to come to the office with me. They see the need. Their heart is still soft towards it, and my second daughter, she's like, I'm going to foster when I grow up, and so if she can see how hard it is and still choose to do it, then I think we're doing something right, and so but it is a family event, it is a family thing. It's not something that they don't go untouched, but I think that ultimately it's made them better people.
That's awesome. Holly Wall is watching. She says, good morning. Heather is amazing. We love you.
Oh, we love Holly. So Holly is an amazing foster mom and an amazing volunteer. She's at our closet at least 3 or 4 days a week helping out. And she was a huge part of our efforts in getting support to families in Lake Charles who were affected by Hurricane Laura. So Holly actually came from Lake Charles area and has a lot of direct contacts there. And so we were able to really make an impact on serving the families that were affected by Laura because of Holly. She's amazing.
That's awesome. Shayla Walls is watching. She says, "You're a crazy awesome mom. I love watching you. Love your kiddos. Hashtag super mom."
Oh, gosh. Thank you, Shayla.
Your fan club gets up early. That's
I
nice.
see that. I know. I appreciate it.
So when we think about foster the love, obviously the closet is so important because, kids arrive, you're not prepared necessarily, you don't get a lot of notice. What other things are foster the love doing to really help support foster families?
We have a lot of ideas, we have a lot of plans. Our goal is to really create a true support and resource center. Right now, we are really blessed to have some donated space within a local church here in Lafayette called Christian Life Center. They have given us an office space and then full use of their entire second floor. Where we've been able to set up our closet and set up some of our other other things that we have that we make available to families. But we would truly love to have what we would call a support and resource center, where we would have our closet and we would have some of the other resources that we make available to our foster families, but then where we could host more foster parent support groups, where we could host, where we can serve our DCFS community, give them a place to kind of step away from the office and just, have a relaxing environment than maybe more so than, the department government buildings, and also a lot of what we do too is we actually help support families who are either working towards reunification or working to keep their family together. And so a big part of fostering is as a foster parent, you have your family that's working their case plan, and part of that case plan are regular family visits. So being able to create a space that is warm and friendly and inviting for our families to be able to come together and have those visits. But then at the same time, we can love on our foster parents. We can have a space for them to relax, have a cup of coffee, a snack, whatever. Because as a foster parent, so many times you're just kind of left sitting in your car, while a visit is going on, or, and so anyway, that's kind of our goal. One of our dreams is to do that. We try to support our families the best we can with meals. Those first days of getting a new child are crazy, so trying to do what we can to support families in that first week, because they're a lot. Within 72 hours, you have a court hearing. Within a week, you have to have them in a doctor's appointment and a dentist appointment, so there's just a lot going on. So as often as we can, we try to support our families with meals during those first couple nights. So that's where we are with our family focus. Our goal is to always support. There's so many aspects to foster care. You have your foster families, you have your biological families, you have your DCFS workers, you have all your therapists and service providers. You've got and then you've got the kids. And obviously, so the beauty of our programs are we're always trying to meet the direct need of the kid. And then as a result, we're supporting the adults in their lives. So, and that's every adult that is interacting with our kiddos. We're trying to provide support for them in some way. Right. And that's where we've kind of, our main focus is always going to be supporting our foster families. We've definitely expanded in our mission and the work that we're doing by really providing support, across the board. Yesterday, we had a mom come by who they're part of Family Preservation Court. So that's a court that was actually started here in Lafayette by Judge DePlanche to help in situations where maybe the offense of the parent is really minor, keeping the kids in the home, but supporting the family so that they can stay together. So we're reducing the trauma that's experienced by the kids and by the families by helping to support them while still in the home. And so we were able to help provide this mom with school uniforms and a backpack and a sleeping mat for her little guy. And so that's what we want to be part of. We want to support the system that exists, but we also want to be part of a systemic change, and so if we can help keep families together so that they never have to enter foster care to begin with, then we feel like we're still doing, we're doing something more. We're doing our part in the community. And then we're starting to do a lot more work with youth who have at risk of aging out or have aged out of foster care, and helping to support them in their journey into adulthood and help them to kind of figure out how to navigate this new world of adulthood.
And then you're adding to all of that an upcoming event, Run, Love, Adopt 5K.
Yeah, we do. We've had enough restrictions lifted for COVID that we're able to we've had to cancel other fundraising events this year, but this one we're able to still keep going. So we're really excited about it. It'll be October 31st in River Ranch Town Square, starting at 8:00 in the morning. So it's our first annual 5K fundraiser. And we're really picking up some traction on it. So we're excited about it.
What a sense of normalcy.
Yeah.
A 5K run. That's awesome.
Right.
Maybe the best attended event all year.
I hope so.
No, you should have good weather. You have people who want to do something kind of normal.
Yeah.
I know with the way that I run, it's a very socially distant activity.
Right.
So that'll be plenty
Everybody's
of opportunity.
way in front of me.
Way in front, exactly. And then there's the flailing that tends to keep people off to the sides. So I see y'all are seeking volunteers to assist with things, right? Mm-hmm. And so tell us about volunteer opportunities, end of the year letters, moving storage units, etc.
Yeah. So because of our space challenge, we utilize a lot of storage space because we get in more donations than we can keep in our little space at the church. So we are working to move into a larger storage unit. So we have volunteer opportunities all the time, either in the closet helping us sort through donations and organize them. We're really picky about the clothes that we keep. If you're not going to, we try to say it delicately, but like if your kid's not going to wear it, then we don't want our kids wearing them either, so we do no rips, no stains. So we constantly having to sort through donations and decide what we can keep and what we pass on. We have different events. We have our 5K coming up. We everybody's sending out their end of the year campaign letters now and hoping for good return. We're going to be working with DCFS to provide Christmas presents for kids in foster care. So we haven't put out a lot of information on that yet, but we're getting that together. So we're definitely going to need, volunteers and involvement for that. We're going to do a pajama drive again this year. So last December, we did a pajama drive, and we used those pajamas for our first night bags. And then we also donate them directly to DCFS. But last year, I think we had 35 businesses and schools across Acadiana participate, and we collected over 1,300 pairs of pajamas. Yeah, so it was exciting.
That's amazing.
It was quite exciting for our first go round to do that. So we'll need volunteers to help with that, and definitely businesses and organizations that would like to step up and help with our pajama drive. We're going to do that again this year because that helps save us money on our first night bags. So we put out about between 500 and 700 bags a year, and they cost about $50 a piece to put together. So, and usually those pajamas are the biggest contributor to the cost. And so by being able to collect the pajamas and get those donated, it helps save us on what we have to spend on putting our first night bags together. We definitely have lots of volunteer opportunities. Anybody that would want to get involved can email either email volunteer@fosterthelovela.org or can visit our website and register that way, and we'll keep you up to date on our different volunteer opportunities.
Awesome. So you'll take their time, you'll take
Yep.
their talent, you'll take
Yep.
their treasure, whatever
Yep.
they want to give.
Whatever they want to give.
That is
We
fantastic.
need it all, for
Well,
sure.
and what a great cause. I mean, when I think about these foster kids, they didn't ask for this. And
Right.
so I think that's what's so important is that we
Mhm.
find ways to help support them. And I think
Mhm.
that's exactly what you're doing through your organization. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it really, we want to, you're right. They didn't ask for it, and we want to make sure that they're getting the best chance at normalcy too while they're in care. So, one of the things, actually, if you visit our Facebook page right now, you'll see we're trying to find a saxophone for a fifth grader who is wanting to do band this year in school. So we're trying to see if anybody out there has either a used saxophone that they would like to donate, or would be willing to help cover the cost of it so that this little guy can experience normalcy. That's one of the things. That's another way we do support our kids, and so support our families, is because state funding is limited. They can cover some expenses, but they don't cover all. So extracurricular activities, sports, band, cheerleading, CYT, any kind of thing, any kind of theater, or anything extra is an expense that the foster parents have to take on themselves. And so according to the Department of Agriculture, it costs about $37 a day to raise a child. And what is reimbursed by the state each month to foster parents comes out to about $14 a day.
Wow.
So, when you choose to foster, it's not just your time and your home and your love. It's also your bank account that you're giving to this cause. And so, again, that's a way we try to support our families, is like, if there's a need like this, we do the best we can to help meet that need, so that our kids get the opportunities that they should have. And so that's one other way that we do that, is helping to cover those expenses when we're able to.
That's awesome.
As long as we have the money, we give it away. If it's there to give, we give it. And
Right.
or we try to find it. If we don't have it, we'll try to find it. And so we just want to make sure that, again, so one statistic I came across recently was actually that 54% of kids who spend at least 1 year in foster care will experience 3 different placements, meaning they're going to at least three different homes. And a lot of that is just because of burnout. A lot of that is because our foster parents don't have great support system, or they just don't have that understanding of, how trauma has affected the child that they're working with. And so we're just trying to do everything we can. We know that if we support the parents well, the kids benefit. And then if we support the kids, the parents benefit. So it's doing our best to support everybody that's involved. So that, and it's always about the kids. We want to make sure that our kids are being taken care of. We want to make sure that they're in strong, stable homes, that they have the tools they need to heal from the trauma they've experienced, so that we have homes that are investing into these kids to help them become successful adults. Because unfortunately, when it comes to foster care, it's a cycle of kids who come into foster care, grow up in foster care, age out of foster care. 70% of girls who age out of foster care are going to be pregnant by the time they're 21. And so then they're just feeding the
Cycle
system
starts again.
again. And so we're trying to hit it from every angle, support the parents, support the kids, come in and support our youth who already are at that level of, aging out or aged out, and try to play our part in breaking that cycle.
Right. Shayla Walls is watching and says fosterthelovelouisiana.org/volunteer for anybody who wants to get involved and help out. And Michelle Ezel is watching and says, in a world so full of division and hate, It is incredibly refreshing to hear firsthand the giving and selfless care that is happening
Oh,
in our community. My outlook on life has been redeemed.
it's there. If you look for it, you'll see you'll see the people that are stepping up and helping out and investing into our community. And we all have a different part to play in that, and that's something I had to remind one of our volunteers recently, because she's like, well, what about if we do this, or what about if we do that? And it's like, those are all good works, but that's not our part. There are organizations that are doing that. And so we need to stay in our lane. And if we're all working together, we're going to make a collective impact that's going to be lasting. And we really see that here in Acadiana, which is beautiful. So we partner with several different nonprofits in the area who are all serving the foster community in different capacities. But we're all working together. And so, one organization here in town is the Extra Mile. And so they do a lot to work with biological families. And so our closet is open to them. Their office contacts us and says, hey, we have this family. Absolutely. Come get what you need. We got contacted recently about a family with 9 children, single mom, 9 kids. She's working 2 jobs. But she's doing she's doing the best she can. And so, really, she needed a safer place to live, some furniture for her home, and clothing for her kids. So we did our part. We got clothing for the kids. We were able to help with the furniture. We were able to help some with some food needs. And then another organization was able to help find her, a better place to live. And so now this family gets to stay together because several different organizations and churches came together to support her. One church bought her a washer and dryer, so we all came together to help this one family. And now we've done our part to help keep this family together. That's what we do here. There's no competition, it's all finding ways to partner together.
Well, I would tell you, you're going to get some other partners. Missy Andrade is watching, and she says, great work for youth in our community. Let's talk about how Boys and Girls Clubs of Acadiana can help support your kids.
Absolutely.
I mean, that is definitely the definition of Acadiana and people coming together. Angela Galliano is watching and says, Heather and her team are incredible and such an inspiration. Love them so much. I was thinking about the kid that is looking for a saxophone. Did y'all check out the library?
No.
So that is a guest we're going to have in a couple of hours.
Okay.
So this is a rental checkout program for musical instruments through the library.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so any of your kids that are going to need musical instruments, they can go through the library, and it's the MyBrary, the musical instrument library.
Okay.
And check out a saxophone for the semester, and he'll be good to go.
Wow. Fantastic. All right. We'll have to look at that.
Right? I love when a plan comes together.
Absolutely. I'm writing this down, or otherwise I will forget.
Absolutely. And I'm not sure what time they are, but at some point, let me see. I know that we've got Ryan, who's the founder, on, at 6 p.m. tonight. So if you're still awake, come back at 6 p.m. for the Lafayette Community Library.
All right. Sounds great.
But yeah, so I think those are the resources that we need to help connect the dots on, because you're right. As long as y'all stay on your lane and do your thing, there are all these other organizations that can support the work you're supporting.
Right. Right.
That makes all the
And by
difference.
each of us taking a little piece of the pie, we're not, one organization's not trying to carry too much.
Right. Well, and that's the thing is everybody carries their load, then it's lighter for everyone and we can get up the hill together.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm thinking about that process, right? And I'm sure that everybody has seen those memes and read those stories through social media about kids arriving, with a trash bag full of their belongings. And you're talking about the first night bag.
Yeah.
How else can people support those efforts? Do you want more donations?
Sure.
Do you want more dollars? Obviously, both of the above. How can we work to that?
We definitely don't need suitcases.
Okay.
And I say that because about 3 times a year, something starts floating on Facebook about kids coming into foster care with their stuff in a trash bag. And don't get rid of your new suitcase, or don't give your old suitcases to Goodwill. Give them to foster kids. And but we don't need new suitcases. suitcases. So actually, the state of Louisiana will purchase a new suitcase for every child when they come into foster care. And so, but what we do have is our first night bag program. And so we have a list of the items that we collect for those on our Facebook page and our website. So we actually have a lot of businesses and organizations who will just do item collection drives on their own. So as much as we can get from the community, obviously the less money we have to spend on putting them together. So next May, we'll be doing a big community-wide collection drive the same way we are for our pajamas. But we make these bags throughout the year. So yes, anytime anybody, you can either put a whole bag together yourself and we provide the list of items that go in there, or you can obviously always make a financial donation, or just do an item collection drive. Your church, your business, your school group, we'll have different key clubs and beta clubs that will do a collection drive and provide those for us. And then we're able to, so we have now gotten all 8 DCFS offices that are in Lafayette region fully stocked with our first night bags.
That's awesome.
And so now we're kind of in a maintenance mode, but they get used. One of our offices that we had completely stocked at the end of last year, we had to just completely restock. And that's 84 bags that they've gone through. So it's a huge help. And what's cool, so I knew it would be helpful for the DCFS workers and I knew it would be helpful for the foster parents. But what's been really great is the feedback that we're getting from foster parents about how the children have responded. It really has restored dignity to them, because now instead of showing up without anything that belongs to them, they have this bag that is theirs. It is, one little boy, he got so excited because he had his own toothbrush and his own toothpaste and his own soap, like that stuff. And he took care of it and he had it in his little spot on the bathroom counter. And it meant so much to him to have something that belonged to him. And so that, it's kind of like, I guess in the back of my mind, I knew it would mean something, but to get the feedback that we've gotten on how much that has impacted them has been, been amazing and totally way beyond our expectations.
And so for anybody who's looking to support these efforts, you can go to your cause page, which is mightycause.com story, Foster the Love LA, and give, donate, support, help out. Make sure that we have enough of those bags. Heather, I'm so amazed by the work you and your organization are doing to help this segment of our community that I think gets overlooked. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for hosting us. And thank you for doing this and helping to just bring awareness to our community of all the great work that's happening. So we have a lot of great things happening.
We've got a series of these podcasts all day today. And I think every story is so impressive and so special and reminds me of what makes Acadiana so great. Just back to Michelle's comment, because I think it's important. Sure. We seem to be so divided in our community. And I think what y'all are doing, what every nonprofit today is doing, is bringing people together. And I think we need to remember that, because that's what's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's more work being done to bring people together than we realize. And so, yeah, let's shift our focus to that. Obviously all the reasons why the division exists they all need to be addressed, but let's also remember to focus on the good that's being done and the work together, the stuff that's being done as we're coming together as a community.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Absolutely. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Foster the Love. And thank you, everybody, for watching and donating and learning and giving. We appreciate all of you. Come back in a few minutes and we're going to do it all again. Next up, we've got Parish Proud. See y'all then.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Well, the day is through.